Hello, this is Hi Bob Warbob, and let's play some Ultimate General Civil War. Hello, and welcome back. Today we are going to be playing Gaines Mill, and I am here as Hi Bob Warbob once again with Something Compass.
Yeah, this is a really cool battle, and for those who haven't played this a lot, and you haven't played this on vanilla, I don't think, but one really cool thing about this battle that's really neat is that if you put your army into the fortifications at Gaines's Mill, you will suffer about 50 or 60% casualties, and if you win the battle, it'll be just barely. Like your army will be just massacred here if you get into those prepared positions.
Did you
They
notice
are,
that I drew that line backwards and then I had to draw it up to the flag? If you don't
yes,
take that flag, you will lose, and if you draw a line straight back, you will just lose. Because
yes.
just had to throw that in there real quick.
Yeah, these victory condition things are just stupid. Now, you told me ahead of time that you were going to go forward, and I said that when I played this on Brigadier General, I did a massive army Brigadier General that was kind of a test for doing it on Legendary, just because I could do it faster. Seeing at what point the Union runs out of unit slots. The the I was fighting it, and I was thinking, I would like to, the next time I play this, go forward and take the battle to the enemy and kill him when he comes onto the map, because I have an army. If the units are 2,500, it's big enough to do that, certainly. And I thought, I'm not going to refight this on Brigadier General. I'll just wait for High Bob to do it. He's going to show me how to do it. And sure enough, here we go. You're going to show me all the spawn points and how to wipe out the enemy when he comes onto the map. So,
Of course.
I just knew that was going to happen. And yeah, I'm glad I didn't, spend another 20 or 30 hours refighting Gaines's Mill. I want you to hand me this. I don't want to have to do the heavy lifting myself.
So one of the big secrets is that 55 up there, right here, this guy.
Yeah.
He is very key to this whole plan. You see more guys just spawned on the battlefield there. So getting into this position before they spawn on is pretty important. You want to be able to hold these woods, and getting these woods here is a little bit difficult sometimes, depending on how the enemy moves out. But what I do is, you saw how my general ran out there into the open field and did a loop-de-loo and then ran back.
Yeah.
That's to keep those units from walking south into that forest. Instead, they walk east out into the open. Even though you can't even see them.
Yeah, you do a really good job of using your general to
just get their attention.
Just get their attention, and they chase after the general, and that's good stuff. And this is Legendary. I mean, he's gonna see something and charge at it. That's what happens on Legendary.
And I don't think they actually technically charged, but they just the direction they move is based on what units they can see. They can see your general, they move towards your general. You move your general out of the way, and you move other units into the forest right beside them, and that's that. Like, there's nothing they can do at that point. Like, you've taken the proverbial high ground.
Yeah, and this is already going well. If you have just a few minutes, you'll be able to take this group out. So yeah,
actually, it takes quite a bit longer to take these guys out than you would think.
Huh. Because they're already flashing white.
Right, but like, you can't just like insta-kill all of these guys. If you do, bad things happen anyway. You don't actually want to kill these guys too early.
Oh, really? What happens?
Well, the next group spawns in immediately.
Oh, okay. That's
not optimal. Now, at least it's not like some battles where you just suddenly win the battle. But you are not prepared in this position to take on the guys that are about to come in, because you want those guys up north there to be in position before the next group spawns in.
And it looks like you might be running them.
Yes, I ran them all the way up there. They will be exhausted, but I mean,
doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. I just need them to be there. It also keeps these guys from routing around the corner up there. Because you don't want them to route around the corner. You want them to stay, well, where that little bitty river is. You kind of want them to be there. It's where the next group of enemies is going to spawn in too. I mean, and look at them. They're just like walking on top of each other out into the open and doing stupid stuff.
Yeah,
It's
I like
really
that.
hard to like move forward though, because there's all that woods back there.
Yeah.
Pretty soon here, I'm gonna start doing it though. I can't remember exactly when I do it, but it's gonna be pretty soon. Here we go. So like that one unit still hadn't taken any losses. 100 men on that one. 50, 21, 3. Like, we have not taken very many losses yet. So now the goal is once again that whole where you move into a position to basically just make them squirt right down the edge. That's the goal here. It didn't end up quite as perfect as I would have liked. Archer there keeps trying to walk forward and being annoying. But we finally got their cannons. Like, those are super annoying. So now we had to decide between Field and Archer. Archer's the one firing forward. Field is the problem for these units. We just cannot get far enough away from Archer. From Field there. So we are taking some shots finally here. But we are also doing pretty good damage to them as well.
So it looks like you're expecting to drive them north. Like the whole time, it was like you were planning on driving them north out of the woods.
Yeah, you don't have a choice. You can't. They will just route up that way anyway, so it's better to just go ahead and let it happen and have these units set up to deal with it, to keep them moving up into that open area up there. And then those 3 units up top are just to stop them from going too far north, because once they get up too far north, then it's hard to corral them and like keep them in one spot. And you just start taking losses whenever they get into a corner like that and you're not like fully prepared. And sometimes they'll try to turn the corner, and that gets kind of messy too. You don't want them to turn the corner on you.
That actually is the most irritating, when you push them into a corner and they route north into the corner, and then they'll start going along the edge of the board to the right, like in this case for some reason. And like you went to all the trouble to get them into the corner. Why are they all just as a mob just going to the right? It doesn't make any sense. But one of those strange things about Ultimate General. Yep, you're going after them. This is where they spawn in.
Yes, it is.
Right after them.
I think that I might be a little over enthusiastic about how many. Well, I think maybe 2 units should have gone to the west like they are up there instead of the 3, and maybe 1 extra unit over there. But it's hard to tell. Like, I feel like you're stretched pretty thin over on the other side, because they spawn in kind of out in the open and it's really hard to corral them over there. So 1 more unit might have been better over there. But it's really hard to tell exactly where the best place would be. So here you run into another problem. Even if you capture these guys, like, the guys spawning in on the edge of the map will oftentimes capture them back, and I think that happens here. It might have been a different run that happened to, but the basic idea is still the same. It's a little annoying. You want to make sure and have your general be a cover general, and you want him to be touching all these guys so that you get that benefit from him. Looking for good cover basically is all I'm doing there. So we're gonna we captured most of them there for a second. We cheat, grab the supplies, cheat, get back in position, just because I didn't feel like messing with it.
Yeah.
So they all surrender.
Yeah.
But the catch is that you can't get them away from the edge fast enough. And I think they all get captured back whenever they're almost all the way there too. It was really annoying. Like, I was pretty mad about this. I was like, all that trouble, get all these captures, and I think they get captured back. Do they? Did we get them away this time? No. See, like, a bunch of them get captured back. How do they get captured back? Like,
Well,
like they didn't even get touched.
the unit at the tail end got touched, and then it triggered the unit next to it, and the unit next to it, and the unit next to it. So
Okay.
you got two of them.
I was pretty mad.
On the plus side, there is a plus side.
You get to kill them instead.
Yeah, and I have to believe there's a negative effect on the entire army by those guys just flashing white. And if any of these units touch one of your infantry, they should still surrender because they're not within range of a commander. Like, you got out of the way, but I bet if that unit of 1,000 had just, no, your unit's exhausted. So
yeah,
you never want to get into melee with an exhausted unit. That's not going to go well.
So yeah, all three of these units are exhausted because they're, you know.
Yeah, you ran them there. You had to run them to get them there.
Yep.
So that's interesting because there wasn't an officer there. The rest of them all routed instantly.
Well, I mean, it's because I had that much fire on them.
Yeah, but there was no officer in there to
bring them back.
And their morale, yeah.
Yeah, that too.
And probably the really shot up units probably had a real negative effect on everybody else's morale too. And
it's only like 3 or 4 units that come in. So it's not like they have a ton of units that spawn in there.
Mm-hmm.
So
just enough to recapture the guys who'd surrendered.
Yeah. So
I'd still like to see a timer on the surrender. Like, a unit surrenders, then it's surrendered for 5 in-game minutes or something, even if it's just a small. They can't be instantly recaptured.
Yeah, Panda said something about thinking about that, but to be honest, I don't really mind that much.
Well, what would happen is a unit would surrender, and you could easily get them out of there. Like, if you were shooting up a pile. Because what happens is a unit surrenders, then it's captured right back. If you had 5 in-game minutes, a unit would surrender, you would pull him out of any pile, and he'd be gone. So, but 5 minutes in-game would be...
probably a little long.
No, I think it'd be reasonable. Because if they recaptured after that, well, then you just lost it. You
see how wide open this area is? It is so wide open. And they spawn like in the middle of that. It's really hard.
Opens right up, yeah.
It's really hard to actually like corral them in that.
Yeah, full disclosure, I have never ever captured them all. I don't think in this battle. There's always been a few that got away.
I don't think anybody gets away.
And every single time, I think, if I'd fought that a little bit differently, I could have gotten them all.
And I mean, this is where we start losing men. Like, if they hadn't gotten to the corner and all that, if I'd gotten those other ones out of there, maybe I could have moved in better with the other units. They wouldn't have routed to the corner. Like, it could have gone a lot better. Because now they're getting all these wavering volleys at me, like over and over and over again with a bunch of different units. I mean, it's not a lot of damage.
Nah, they're not doing that much.
But it is enough that it's annoying.
It's tiny damage, and you're just harvesting kills at this point. This is clubbing baby seals. This is not. This is not like this is a fight.
No, it's not.
This is you going out into the orchard and just loading up on all the fruit. I mean, this is just harvesting XP.
So here I'm trying to get into better cover. I was getting annoyed because I had pretty low cover for the area that I was in. I'm like, this is like a bunch of trees. Like, I should get better cover than what I was. And so I turned them and got, like, I don't know, a lot better cover. And of course, forgot to tell the detached skirmishers to hold, so they walked out in front, which is just special.
Yeah.
But
and then blocked your fire. Yeah, I love when they do that. I love when they just move out front and block your fire.
Yeah, then you got the problem of, like, trying to get them all lined up perfect. It's a little annoying. So now I have a bunch of units again, and it's like, I don't know what to do with these. They're never gonna get there in time, but sure, throw them over there. Go for it.
Well, you're just gonna run them, so they'll build condition. That'll be fine.
I mean, they'll run out of condition, but build stamina?
Yeah.
There we go.
They'll run out of condition, but build stamina.
Yeah.
I always get those backwards.
I do too. I'm not gonna lie. It's
played so many games where stamina is the condition bar. You have a stamina bar.
So here I'm like trying to decide exactly where I want everybody to be. For some reason, I put this guy back out there. Oh, it's because they couldn't shoot him all the time. For some reason, like they were like not able to shoot far enough forward. And I was like, okay, well then I guess I'll just run out there.
This phase can be really a lot of fun where you're just beating them up, and it just is an enjoyable thing to do. And it can also be insanely frustrating if your units are not cooperating. Blocking each other, not getting into the right place, you can't get a shot because the corner is just glitchy. You get into the corner, and yeah, the one I hate is when for some reason there's a guy in the back of this pile who can fire out and hit you, but you can't hit him.
Yeah, you're blocked.
Yeah,
but yet he's not. It's like,
yeah, he's firing volley after volley after volley, and you're having a good time, and you can't fire. It's just things don't work as well in the corner. But on the plus side, you're just harvesting XP.
So now I'm starting to wonder if they actually do spawn on the edge of the map, and I should have just like spawn camped them. Like, what was I doing? I could have spawn camped them. I thought they spawned in the middle. But obviously, looking at this now, they don't. They spawned on the edge of the map, and I could have easily camped them and got them easy. Much easier than what this is going to be. This is going to be hard. This is going to be difficult. Because now they're out in the open. All 3 stars, like I said, after the last battle, with that going up to what it did, everybody's going to be 3 stars for the remainder of forever.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, you're never going to be able to grind that back down. Yeah, they come in on the edge of the board. I know that because I have watched them come in.
What was I thinking? Maybe I was just thinking I was going to get overran. I don't know.
No, you thought they came in. They spawned in like on this farm, but they don't. They come in on the road.
Yeah, I said that, but I mean, I saw it just there that they spawned in on the edge. So like, I should have known from watching while I was playing. Like, I literally looked at it myself.
Yeah, most of the enemy reinforcements come in on a road, and there's the road, and that's where they come in. So if the AI tells you, yeah, they're going to come in on, here, it's going to be on the road that's over there. So that's, yeah. And that's where they come in.
Yeah. So basically, I was just being special. I could have easily camped this and like gotten almost no casualties. So maybe it's the cannons that I was worried about too. Cannons are dumb.
Yeah, they drive up your losses.
They do very quickly. And I mean, I have so few units, like maybe 3 units over and then 2 units below. Maybe I could have done it. Maybe it'd be close. Like because they have what 4 units of infantry, 2 units of artillery. That's a lot of units to like try to corral with almost the exact same number of units.
Do they only have 4 infantry?
Right here, yeah.
Wow. I thought this was a bigger force that came in up here. Because usually I let them come. Usually, I would let them come all the way down and attack my right flank near the victory location. Because they come down and they're in the open and you can shoot them up. And they're actually some pretty decent defensive positions. Not the prepared positions, which are the worst in the game. But, some pretty good cover and you can shoot them up and beat them. If you have snipers, there's a great opportunity for snipers here. I didn't think about it, but you can only bring 30 units to this battle.
Is it only 30? No, you can bring more.
No, you can only bring 30 to this battle.
Oh, is it 20 and 10?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the net battle after this is also 30. You probably didn't have enough unit slots for all of your infantry, did you?
Yeah, I did.
Did you?
Yeah.
You were able to get all of your infantry? So
every single man, yeah.
If you build a couple snipers or a couple of artillery units or a cav or something,
I think I have like 1 or 2 artillery units technically.
Oh, okay.
But they don't get to do much because they're like at the very end of the 10 units that come in.
Yeah, I think the guys who come in at the very end, there's a small batch of them, and I think they're designed. The victory location that's further to the the most southern victory location, if you're fighting for your survival to hold that, they're supposed to reinforce that or counterattack or something.
Yeah.
So if everything's going really badly, that's what they're for. So you're not going to get all 30 units into the battle if things are going well.
Yeah,
like
especially
this.
not if you push them into the corners of the map.
Yeah, the enemies in the upper northern corner, those guys who come in the south are never going to fire a shot. They're not going to get there.
Yeah. So, yeah. This might, yeah, because this is just one course so far.
Yeah, it is.
And of course, this is my patent pending corner where you just like move forward and just like make a semicircle in a corner and just absolutely destroy people. Because whenever you have this many units versus that few units, like you can do this. Whereas in the other corner, I didn't have enough like units to keep them all routing all the time, like perfectly.
Yeah.
So here, I forget that they spawn in up there, and really you want to have like a unit on either side, like to like keep them from like routing the wrong way. You need to have ones back there to keep them from routing back around the corner again. And I think they all shattered there. I didn't get a single capture.
Oh, that's brutal.
Yeah. So that's fun. I think this also ends early if you kill them all too.
Yeah, the ones I really, the mechanic that I don't like in the game is you capture all these guys and then you lose hours of game time.
Yeah.
Like there's several battles where that happens. Oh, the phase is over, so now we're going to switch 3 hours later. But your units don't recover any condition. They're just as tired as, so 3 hours passed, they haven't moved, but they're just as exhausted as they were before. It's just a lose-lose for you, and that happens in Richmond too. It's really irritating. So what you have to do is not take a victory location or not wipe them out so you get the full amount of time. That's a dumb mechanic.
So I guess that didn't end early, because I didn't quite get in. I didn't quite get them captured yet. But see, they're like shattering instead of getting captured. Like I was really surprised at how resilient these guys seem to be this time. Like,
well, that does happen with 3-star units. They're more likely to fight to the death than surrender.
Yeah. I don't think I was quite sure where they'd spawn in, so I put that guy kind of in a weird spot just so you'd have a bunch of cover.
So this is another bunch that came further south.
I think so. Maybe. But they just kind of look like they come south because they like walk down there.
Oh, okay.
I think.
That makes sense, because I've never actually come over here and like found their spawn point.
There might be one that spawns in like just north of the river there. But nobody spawns south of that river. Because, I mean, like you said, they spawn in on roads.
Yeah.
Oh, there is a road down there, but they don't spawn in on that road in the swamp. Like that's not a thing, because that would be bad for them, really bad. So once again, we line up along the edge and march them south.
Yeah, most people have never had the pleasure of walking through swampland.
Oh,
it is absolutely exhausting.
Like, are you talking about real life, or are you talking about in the game?
Real life.
Okay.
Well, it's
yes.
weird in the game that if your units do anything in the swamp, they're exhausted.
Yeah.
And it is absolutely exhausting to walk through swamps. People who've never done it have no idea.
I did something like it as a Boy Scout, but it wasn't like I had to like carry a gun and like fight in it.
100 pounds on your back.
Yeah, you know,
3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad.
Wait,
hey, look at all those cannon. Look at how many cannon I brought to this battle. Just cannon upon cannon upon cannon that will never get to see any fighting, because there is no way they're going to make it down here.
No chance.
No chance. Zero. Negative amounts of chance. To be completely honest.
If you spread them out and had them move perfectly over, like if you took 20 minutes and pathed them out on a road,
no.
Maybe they'd get a shot and get like 1 point of efficiency.
I mean, by that time, these guys are going to be dead. So, like, even if they would technically get there before the battle would end, these guys are going to be, like, in a corner, like, where I don't want to shoot them anymore. Like, the one guy that's left, just to, like, till the end of time. I think. Then again, I think when the time ends, it's over, right?
Yeah, I'm real sure when the time ends.
So there's the last group of units up there.
So they come into the north.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is really handy. Watching where these guys come in, so that anybody, like I never did this in any of my videos, and I don't know anyone else who did. So anyone who sees this video can really use this information to crush the enemy.
Yeah, and you cannot stop them from going south. They will go south no matter what you do.
Yeah, I have a challenge for you. You were thinking about Iron Man. No camp or spawn camping.
No spawn camping.
That would really change the game.
For me, yeah, probably.
I mean, I love spawn camping. People criticize it, but I have done it since I was a teenager playing Avalon Hill games. So it's deeply ingrained in my style of play. The enemy comes in somewhere, you go get him. So I've always done that in every game I've ever played, and I've played a ton of strategy games. So that would be hard for me to like not see that as the best possible option. But it's a challenge. You could think about it.
Yeah.
But here's what I would recommend as someone who's made videos for years, like hundreds and hundreds of videos. Do whatever you find the most fun, because otherwise you'll lose your enthusiasm for both playing and making videos.
I mean, look how far they've gotten so far. They've only gotten like not even halfway up the backside, and over there would have all been swamp.
Yeah.
So like definitely easier going, and yet they still haven't made it halfway up the map yet. And the map is wider than it is tall. I think. It seems rectangly. Hey, look, we captured somebody. Yay!
I played this on CSA. I went for a surround in kind of the middle of the map.
Yeah.
I've never done this as the Union, and this just looks like just amazing. This is just the best. Great outcome.
It was fun. I really liked this. It's really hard to chase them down because, like, you just can't move.
Yeah.
They seem to be able to run just fine while routing, and I can't run while chasing them. Like, I don't understand it, but sure.
Well, the enemy has roller skates, so there's that. And then sometimes they seem to have transporters, so...
Yeah, well, I just teleported there, so I can't really talk too much.
Well, I'm happy to see you handed back to them the cheats that they seem to have all the time. So yeah, this is great. But by the way, I would never take the challenge of going to the spawn points and just waiting for the enemy. I would never take that challenge.
Not doing it, you mean?
Yeah, I would never do that. I would never take that challenge because I just like doing it.
Yeah, I do too. It's too much fun. I find it extremely entertaining to just like be like, "Hi."
Yeah.
Bye.
And then here's your volley.
Yep, you're dead.
You're dead now.
And this river looks like you can't cross it, but you definitely can. Like, it's that darker blue that you normally can't cross, but you can anyway. So.
Well, the enemy without any problem. So.
Yeah, just you might not even realize you can cross it by looking at it.
Look at this. 25 minutes and you're gonna take out the last unit. I'm
just like, why not?
That is
I mean, it's
just
think it's going to come down pretty close. Yeah, about 5-10 minutes left. Yeah.
That is just terrific.
Yeah. So, won by wiping them out.
Yeah, you got them all.
Yeah.
I was, yeah, I remember when I fought this battle the last time, and I said I was going to let High Bob, War Bob, break the code on this, so that then the next time I played it, I was going to get them all for sure. So, and you just handed me the keys to do that. Thanks.
You're welcome. Okay, we're going to skip over to the spreadsheet. Okay, so we got this pulled up, and here's Gaines Mill. I got even higher this time. Now it's 6% losses, man. Like, it just keeps getting worse every battle.
I'm thinking 6% is a really good number.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. 3,335 after medicine. 3,474 was the total. We killed or captured 55,971 men. So
6,000.
Yeah. So
got them all.
16 to almost 17 to 1 after medicine. 16.
That is a great result for that battle. And consider that Gaines's Mill and Malvern Hill, I think, are that ends the tough part of the Union campaign. Like, the early campaign is over. You now have an army, and the difficulty level, you can feel a huge drop in difficulty after Malvern Hill, and you just got 16 to 1.
Yeah, almost 17, but close. And that was the reason why I only got 90% is because for some reason in this battle, the captures just did not go my way. I don't know why, but a lot of units shattered in this one, and that really drops your killed percentage by a lot.
I have a theory, and it's when you get those units, like when the training level goes to 80, the enemy units behave differently, and one of the things is they fight to the death and are more likely to shatter because they'll be 500 in size and still be fighting and not give up. And when they get just really tiny, and they're going to shatter rather than be captured, and you notice that about 700, that they're more likely to shatter, just slightly more likely to shatter. But it's when you play on legendary and you've already had it happen where you're at 80% training, you're going to get fewer captures and more shatters.
The big reason this time is actually because those 4 units they got back. Those 4 units that they got back meant that then they had a bunch of like units there, and they those units routed to the north fast, so I couldn't get my units like around them as well as I sometimes could, which then meant that, and those units will shatter more easily because I can't get those units down because the other units are so big. Like, they're at 4K, and like these ones are at like, no, not 4K, at a full 3K, and these were at like 1,500 or below. Well, those are just, they're gonna shatter before those other ones get low enough to capture. That was a big problem with those 4 units. And I mean, 4 units doesn't sound like a whole lot, but like then
6,000.
that also got them up into that corner, which then made it really difficult to pull them out of that corner and actually get captures on them, because at that point then all my units are tired. I had to move them out of the way, and it just kind of like snowballed from there. Like, there were several times where I could capture like all those units the first set, get them out of the way, and then capture the second set in place without them ever being able to route to the north. It's just those other units being there really makes it difficult. And sometimes you can get them captured. Like, I think there was one time that basically what I did is I just like ran my unit forward as soon as they got as soon as those units got captured. I ran a unit forward into there so that I kept a hold of them, ran them out, and then like teleported my guy back, so then he was always in melee range of all the men. It felt kind of cheaty, but
I go back to this. There should be a 5-minute timer.
I'm not even sure a 5-minute timer would have helped me, because technically, like, hours went by. Like, an hour went by.
No, when those units surrendered, like I'm just thinking, when you had 4 units and they just surrendered on the edge of the map, And
Right,
if
but
you,
then time skip forward by an hour
yeah, I wonder why it did that. They were,
because I killed everybody on the map, so time
yeah,
skips forward.
yeah.
So it depends on how it calculated the 5 minutes. If it calculated based on like how long you'd been playing, like at that moment, like
Yeah.
it would have worked. But also it skipped to a new phase, and I think the phase change probably would have broken that logic to then like reset the timer to like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and then the only way to do that is what you did, which is I've done before, which is just run people forward to park on top of them so that they can't, because they won't switch back if you have a unit touching them.
Right.
So,
The problem
then
with that is that then you get
you're gonna
shot.
get, yeah, you're going to get that unit that's gone forward is going to get pounded.
Yeah. And I didn't
So
want that to happen either. So, it's just kind of the way it is.
I think it might have been worth it. Capture those 4 units. That's almost.
I thought I had gotten away with it. I thought I got far enough away because I specifically drew lines for each of them, so that makes them move faster. So I thought that I was just far enough away, and then that unit spawned on the edge of the map, and it hadn't been touched yet, and then it just barely got touched, and I was like, I mean, and those other units were almost touching my unit already, so it's like, it was so close. And I think
Yeah,
there was
so-
just like a random guy probably standing in the back, like, that got touched, not like the main amount of the unit. And I was livid whenever that happened.
It set off a chain reaction.
Right.
All you have to do is touch one, it flips, and then it flips everybody it touches, and they were all touching each other. So, yeah,
So
that's.
I forgot to show yours last time, and you had me beat on Secure River, but I had you beat on kills. We kind of talked over this during the break.
Yeah, the kills are the important thing.
And then on this one, I took not quite half the losses, but close, and then got almost double the kills on this one.
Yeah, that's nice.
Which led to getting 7,700
rifles. Harper's Ferry.
Harper's Ferries at this battle, which is really nice to get.
Because I think at Secure River you got 42s and something else. Which,
yeah, it's bad.
But here now that's what Legendary is good for. You're going to start getting Harper's Ferries, and then even better, all the way up to Fayettevilles.
Very true. Very true.
Thousands of Fayettevilles.
And switch on over here to the actual game. See if we can get it switched over.
Yeah, one of the neat things about the UI mod is because we're going for captures, because we get rewarded for it now, it does drive up the total number of kills that we get in a battle. Because before we used to shatter everybody.
Yeah.
And that really lowered the number of kills and captures, losses, enemy losses in a battle. So that's one of the things I've noticed by going to the UI mod. I mean, when you're capturing 20,000 men or 25,000 men in a battle, that means that instead of those units shattering, you're now getting 100% of all of the total amount that you could possibly get. And it really drives the kills up, which drives down the manpower pool.
Right.
So,
but at the same time, the manpower pool really can't drop below this number.
Yeah, there's a floor that it will not go below.
So in that battle, I did lose. One wounded officer. I didn't lose any. I kept my losses pretty spread out, except for this unit and this unit. Most of them only lost about 2,500 or less. Oh, that unit did too. So like, only a few units got nuked, but most of them lost 2,500 or less, which is a good number to aim for. 300 on both of these. Not as good as it could have been, but
pretty much in every battle, there's going to be a couple guys that are going to take some knocks. I mean,
you just want to minimize the number of them that take the really hard knocks. You don't want to like have one guy lose like 1,000 men and then everybody else lose like nobody.
Yeah.
Especially if you want to keep your units intact. Like I break down all my units, but if you want to keep your units intact, you really need to like concentrate on keeping the casualties spread out. We gained a ton of melee on this guy. Look at that. 45 melee. That is crazy. That's like 15 extra melee that he gained in this battle. This guy gained almost the same.
It's not always the case. I have had units that went way up in melee and didn't take a lot of losses, but generally, if you see melee go up a lot, you're going to take more losses than somebody who is in cover firing.
Yeah, so like both of these guys were in melee a lot. Took a lot of losses. That guy wasn't. This guy was, but I mean, look at how did he gain that much melee and only lose 50 men? I don't even understand this. Like, that should be impossible. That is way too much melee gained for only 50 men lost.
Maybe he has a melee rifle.
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know.
I mean, he's got MJGs, I guess.
I don't know. It's pretty suspicious.
86 melee. That's not really. Because what is. I mean, it's better than 55s at least. Yeah, I shouldn't have been getting in melee with Harper's Ferries. It's a bad idea.
Yeah, I hear people say that, but when you have to get into melee, you grab whoever is there. And it's never the unit you want to be there.
Right.
Like if you have a unit armed with farmers, he's going to be on the other side of the map.
Of course.
He's just not going to be where you want him. You're going to have units that have 63s. And you want to get into melee, you just... Because your army is usually spread out,
Yeah,
fairly well. And you want to get into melee, and then you look and you go, oh yeah, of course, I don't have anybody who's, everybody has good weapons. There's nobody here with a,
I mean, but these MJGs are pretty good at it.
Yeah.
86 is not bad compared to like the 50 that 60 that these have. So
that might have been part of it.
Yeah. That these guys have that good a weapon, and obviously I was going up against Harper's Ferries. Everybody had Harper's Ferries, so getting into melee with against Harper's Ferries with MJGs, you got some advantage there.
Your units are 2,500, and they have a good melee weapon. Maybe that accounts for it. I don't know, but that seems like a reasonable explanation.
I mean, to be honest, though, Union just seems to be absolute trash at melee, no matter what. Like, even if you have good stats, it just seems bad. 2 points in politics for this one.
I think someone said at some point that the Union has just different mechanics underneath of it where they're just not as good. Like, besides the numbers that we see, there's something happening underneath. It's not the same as the CSA.
Yeah, I think Panda was talking about the walking drains stamina more for Union than for CSA.
Yeah, Union has all kinds of nerfs. Like in the CSA, you can run a unit across the battlefield and plunge into melee and win. The Union, you like have to walk them, or they get exhausted. You have to rest them frequently. They just behave differently, and it doesn't matter. 2-star units do not behave like Confederate 2-star units with exactly the same stats.
Man, this definitely made a big difference. Look at that, like 38, even after adding rookies to it. That's nice. Like, these guys got some good stats now.
Yeah. It's
Sorry.
so painful. It's so painful, though, thinking that you're adding, like, 8 efficiency into... But, the alternative is, do you really want to spend 20 hours in camp?
I mean, I'm going to do close to that anyway, but the bigger catch is that, like, I like having all 2-star. Like, not going much above exactly at 2 stars most of the time, just because hitting that 2-star just makes so much of a difference.
Yes,
And
it's more important in the Union campaign to get 1 stars and no stars to 2 stars than getting anybody to 3 stars.
And also, like, once you start getting up there in 2 stars, you start having units with like over 100 stamina, and then you stop gaining bar power from stamina, and you're basically just wasting your time running your units around or moving. While you're moving, you are gaining experience, and if you are over 100, then you just stop gaining experience basically for it. Whereas if you can spread out your experience and keep them lower, then you can continuously gain stamina on all your units that you have on the field. And that's, I feel, a very important part of keeping your experience high and your experience gain high and your experience loss low.
Yeah, and it seems that it's not a 1-for-1. Like going from 10 to 20 in any attribute is faster and easier than going from 90 to 100. So, it seems to be some kind of a sliding scale that you have to do more at the top end. So if you have a bunch of units that have, 90 or 100 in a bunch of attributes, like you said, 100, you're just not going to get hardly anything more. But even at 90, it just doesn't seem you get as much as if the units are at 50 or 60.
Well, I mean, you can go above 100, but the problem is it doesn't count towards your star. Like, you only count the first 100 towards your star.
Yeah, but I think it does count toward the command bar of the officer. So the officer would grind XP.
Right, but it's much slower.
But I think it's much, much slower.
Yeah.
The higher you go. So you get a 2-star general in a unit that, is a 3-star unit and is pretty much not totally at 100, but very high in everything. You're just not going to give him much to his command bar. I think about all this as I play.
Right.
Because you want to grind officers and you want to grind units and you want to have the best units and you want to grind stamina and, everything else. And, how do you get your biggest payoff for the entire army, not just a single unit or a single officer?
Very true. Very true. And obviously, you want to use your high melee units to build cannons and stuff.
Oh, here's a trick I was thinking about, and I actually, lifted part of this idea from you. Is early in the game, get somebody very high in melee, create a melee cav unit, get to 100. And you're doing this for Richmond.
Right.
Get a cav unit to 100 melee, and it has to be, you're going to need 700 men for this. So 700 men, and it's okay to buy some vets, as I described this, if you have to get to 700. But get a cav unit, so an infantry unit, high melee, build a melee cav unit, get over 100, break the cav unit down, and just create 2 20-pound Parrot artillery units of 350 men, and grind all of your other skills to 100. Then right before Richmond, you will have a infantry unit of 700 men with 100 in every attribute.
And you can use that to buy your vets.
Then you take all the money that you've stolen from the game unfairly by cheating with your wagons to build, oh man, it's like $80 a vet. So depending on how many millions of dollars you've been able to squeeze out of the game, you can take tens of thousands of men and make them 3-star units.
I think that if you have 0 training, it's $100 for a vet with 100 in all.
Yeah, it's something like that.
But the catch is that you also don't have to pay for any stats that are over 100.
Yes.
So if you can get a unit and grind it to 130 in every single stat, and then press the vet button, you can basically print out units that are 125 in every single stat for only 100 each, even though you get 125 worth out of it.
Yeah, and that's huge for those who are listening. That's huge because you're going to blend those guys into the rest of your army, and those stats are going to carry over at 130. So you're getting like 30% more for your cash.
25% more.
Yeah, that's
exactly 25% more if you can get to 25 over. And I did that in my last playthrough of the melee cav. That, I mean, it had to have been high because I like added like almost 25% raw recruits, and it still hadn't dropped below 100. I was like, wow, that's
how you can tell. But the strategy that I'm talking about is you would get over 100 in melee with a melee cav, which happened very fast, and then by putting them into a place where you're going to grind firearms and everything else. So when you did this with your infantry unit would have 100 morale and stamina over. So
right, and that's what I did. I took my melee cav and made it into a skirmisher, because skirmishers grind firearms faster.
Yes, they do. The reason I said artillery is because you're going to have a lot more time, and you're not going to take any losses.
True.
20-pound parrots should never take a hit. They're just going to sit back and just grind firearms.
But with what are these guns? These terrible guns? JF Browns? You can grind firearms for days with these things because you're not getting kills. You're not getting efficiency. You're just getting kills.
Well, you are going to get kills. You're just not going to get the kills you're used to.
I mean, what, 10% max instead of 30% max? So you get a third of the kills? It's bad.
Like I said, you're not going to get the kills you're used to.
Yeah.
Because people who come from the CSA campaign, everything is worse, except for the Union gets better guns, more men, and more money.
Well,
I mean, the better guns is game changing.
Better artillery.
Yeah.
And better infantry guns. Like more availability of Harper's Ferries, for sure.
Yeah.
More money to buy both of those two types of guns. They get no cavalry guns comparatively. They get no Lamats at all.
Oh, none.
And I don't think they get as many Colts or Remingtons as the CSA does, or they get a lot of Palmettos for some reason.
Yes, but you are going to get Spencer carbines.
Sharps don't appear on the CSA side, but are they better than...
No, they're not. They're inferior to let's see.
Spencer?
Yeah, I've never used the Spencer because they're ridiculous.
I mean, the Sharp has 450 range, so it is, in a way, better.
I'm sorry, I have used the Sharps. It's inferior to, say, the Whitworth unscoped.
Is it? By a lot? By a bit, yeah. 500 range instead of 450. Does it do more damage or anything? Doesn't even fire faster, really.
No.
It fires a little bit faster, but...
It's inferior because of its range.
Man, that's just depressing. But, I mean, you look at, like, I got 20-pound parrots for days!
Oh, yes. You will have an enormous number of 20-pound parrots, and you could have an enormous number of 24-pound howitzers. James, I think you'll get about 3 batteries. Whitworth's maybe 2 batteries.
I really like James.
Still nice. I mean, you'll get... But the thing is, you just get a ton of 20-pound parrots. And you just get a lot of them.
Oh. Evidently, I didn't take that result for training, or my training dropped by a ton.
Huh.
I don't know how that happened.
I would almost think that you recorded a battle. I don't know, because you're not going to drop 20 points in training. That's not going to happen.
Because it was Secure River that we just watched, and that's the same result. Huh.
So it might be that you used footage of going into battle from another battle, where because it's random. Getting a trainer like that is a random event.
Maybe I saved it at the end and reloaded.
Yeah, maybe. And you used the footage from one battle because you play each one several times. Because you're not going to drop 20 points.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was 15 points, I think.
Yeah, that's not...
Because it went up to 80, like 75 to 81, 76 to 81. 15 points.
Armory went up.
No, that's the same. It's about the same.
5 points higher?
Maybe.
I don't know. That's not going to happen. So something else is going on.
Okay, I probably reloaded it because, redid the end of the battle real quick just to get a better result. Because man, you really don't want training to go up like that. But I mean, it still didn't make a difference. I still faced all 3 stars anyway.
3-star.
So
yeah, they were all 3 stars.
Well,
and that's going to happen in the Union campaign at some point.
We've spent almost 24 minutes talking about the end of the battle. And the battle only took 30 minutes, so we should probably wrap it up here.
Yeah, good idea.
You guys have a good one, and we will see you in Malvern Hill coming up in the next one. Hi, Bob Warbob, signing out. Bye. Well, this has been a blast. Hope you guys have had as much fun as I've had. I'll see you again in the next episode. You guys have a good one,